Peace, y'all. Welcome again to African Tarot Stories. Again, absolutely grateful that you guys are following this series with me. I believe we're on episode 6. So today we're going to pay homage to Daniel Hale Williams, first Black heart surgeon, first surgeon to ever perform open heart surgery and be successful. An absolutely huge deal. This man, he lost his father at, I believe, 9 years old, or maybe 9 or 6 years old. I'm getting my numbers mixed up. But at an early age, he lost his father. His father was a barber, and then he also grew up to become a barber and a shoemaker. But he had an apprenticeship under Dr. Henry Palmer. And then he basically, from that apprenticeship and going back to school, became a medical professional, one of the top medical professionals in Chicago, top medical professional in the world because of his success to perform open heart surgery. And I believe they said that this man lived over 50 years after that open heart surgery. So just congratulations to Daniel Hale Williams, and a huge thanks to him for opening that institution in Chicago afterwards so that other Black medical professionals could also be ahead and get the information that they needed for their careers, for their prosperity and their abundance as well. So ashe to him. We are absolutely grateful. Who knows how many lives this man has saved from performing open heart surgery and being successful at it. So absolutely amazing. If you have a chance to look up his story and you just need a boost for the day, again, went from being a barber and a shoemaker to a medical professional, one of the most famous surgeons globally, right? Just amazing stories. What can you say, right? So that is Daniel Hale Williams right here in this card in the Six of Swords. So our story today is Ngunza Defies Death. So in this story, there are two brothers, and Ngunza was away from home when he had a dream that his younger brother Maka basically was dead. So he goes back home and he asks his mother what happened, and his mother tells him that death came to visit his son, Lord Kalunga Ngombe, and basically took Maka. So Ngunza decides that he is going to fight Lord Kalunga Ngombe. And he goes to a blacksmith. He gets this big black iron trap. He waits out in the jungle with his gun. He's waiting in the bushes, and he hears a scream. And the scream slowly dies down into a human language. And he hears, "I'm dying, I'm dying." And he peeks out from under the bushes. And there he sees Lord Kalumba Ngombe, right? And so then he aims his gun and he prepares to shoot him. And of course, Lord Kalunga Ngombe says, "Stop, please, wait, do not shoot me." And Ngunza asks, "Well, who are you for me not to shoot you?" And he replies, "I am Lord Kalumba Ngombe." And he says, "Ah, you are the one who took my younger brother, Maka." And so then a silence comes in between them because he knows why he is now in this trap. But he basically explains to Ngunza that it is very unfair to trap him because he does not willingly take people to the underworld, and it is not something that is of his choice, but this is something that happens because of fellow men, and whichever man is dead himself. So he tells Ngunza that he can actually see this for himself, and that if he comes to visit him, he waits 4 days and comes and visits him, he will get the answers that he is seeking for, and he can get his brother Maka and bring his brother Maka back into the living world, back to earth, if he frees him from the trap. So Ngunza frees him from the trap. He waits 4 days. He goes to Malunga, that's the area that he's in, and he goes to see Lord Columba Ngunze. Lord Columba Ngunze invites him into his home and asks him to sit by him. So when he sits by him, he then calls in some of the dead. A man walks in and he asks the man, "Why have you died?" And the man replies, "I was very rich and very wealthy in my life, and my neighbors were very, very jealous. So they bewitched me, and that is why I died." And then a woman came in, and he again asks the woman, "Well, why have you died?" And the woman says that it was because of vanity. She looked so into fortune and so into attention and seeking those types of pleasures that she actually, I believe the word is coquetted with men or flirted with men. I'm using comprehension. So yeah, but that's the truth, y'all. But flirted with men, and her jealous husband killed her. And so one after the other, people come in with basically the same or lesser than the same of the story. So about the same story. And then Lord Columba Ngunze turns to Ngunza and says, "See, it is not me that willingly wants to kill people, but it is their fellow men again, and it is of their own undoing most of the times of why they get killed." And so he says, "You can now go and get your brother Maka." So he goes and finds his brother Maka, and Ngunza is overjoyed. They warmly give each other a hug and converse. And then Ngunza tells Maka that he is ready to bring him back down to earth. But to Ngunza's surprise, Maka looked at him and said, "Why would I return to earth? Why would I return to the living, and I'm having so much fun here? Am I going to have that much fun back on earth?" And so it was with a heavy heart that Ngunza left his brother in the land of the dead, where he was happier. And so Lord Death, or Kalunga Ngombe, tells him that he will meet Ngunza in 8 days back at his home on earth. Now this is where the story gets a little tricky. It gets a little tricky because we have basically a block in the story. Now we know that these stories are of oral tradition, so it's nice to see them on paper, but sometimes things can get a little, I'll say wavy, pardon my slang, but I'll say a little wavy, a little blurry, right? What they suggest in the story is that he told him not to tell anyone of his visits to Malunga or to the land of the dead, and that's what he did. So when he came to visit Ngunza, he actually didn't find Ngunza at his home, and he actually had to pursue him for many, many days. And when he finally caught up with Ngunza, Ngunza asked him why he was following him if he himself does not kill people, if it is of their own fate. And Lord Columba Ngombe basically answered him with a hatchet to his face, like threw a hatchet to him, and turned him into a river spirit, a water spirit. I believe the correct term is a Katutana spirit, right? So really, really cool story. It might not sound cool, but it's actually really, really cool, because him being turned into a spirit, even though that's a transition from a different body being transformed into a river spirit, it's not necessarily death. So these are things that get a little more blurry, and that maybe our Western mindsets can't fully understand as much because we don't know the story behind this. But another cool piece in this story is that before he left Maka, Columba Ngombe gave Ngunza all the seeds that cultivate all the rich plants in Angola to this day. So that is a connection from the present and past coming together. Really, really, really dope. So, Six of Swords. When I see this card, I am automatically like, okay, this is like a transition to me. There was a threat there was something that was gonna go down, and it was caught and it was taken care of, and this person can now move on, move forward. um, yeah, I always say that, in a reading, it takes context clues. It matters what the story is telling you. It matters what the other cards are saying around it. And the actual depiction in the picture is what matters the most. So the part in the story where he's actually caught and this man has a decision to move forward or basically do whatever his will is. But you notice that he's standing and he's taking a minute to basically move forward, even though he has the freedom to move forward. It's kind of like the same thing here, this level of success that he has with the open heart surgery, right? And so this man is able to move further with his life. So that's how I piece the two together. Always remember that the swords is your mental plane and that we have blocks in our mental plane. And so just like maybe this is more of a block with a 5 of swords or 6 of swords, we definitely have this movement and just a more successful energy definitely with this card. So hopefully that wasn't too general today, you guys. I know that was a lot of information and there's so much more to cover. So that is how Ngunza defied death.